So we're learning today that Elon Musk and his company Neuralink, within the next 6 to 12 months, will be able to implant a computer chip in a person, like in their brain. And with this computer chip, they'll be able to actually control effectively the person's thoughts. And this is thought to be helpful in combating paralysis, ALS, blindness. It could be a lot of positive medical applications. But there could be a downside. Elon Musk says Neuralink is almost ready to implant brain chips that no one thinks are good for society. So let's scroll down this Breitbart article and get to the money quote here. Musk said the Neuralink's device, which has been refined over the years, would be implanted into people using a robot that carves out a piece of their skull and attaches the device to their brain, which is about the size of a coin. Discussions with the FDA mean that the company can begin to plant its first human trials in the next 6+ months. In addition to working on the brain-computer interface, Musk revealed that his company is working on spinal implants that might one day restore mobility to people with paralysis. Wow, that sounds amazing. He also revealed that his firm is working on ocular implant to restore vision and improve it. Now, as I said, this seems to be very unpopular. Pew, only 13% of Americans think Elon Musk's new Neuralink brain chip would be good for society. Oh, well, I wonder why. Well, how about this hot take from Libby Emmons? I've been writing about transhumanism since 2018, including Neuralink. It's a technology that seeks to change what human beings are, their essence, their physical form. Now it's here, and human beings are on the precipice of being transformed into transhumans, which is a phrase I hadn't heard before. It's scary because if it becomes reality, human beings will simply become another part of the Internet of Things. In other words, this little computer chip thing in your head will be able to communicate with other computers. We'll just be data ports in a great sea of data ports. Some human, some machine. What's the difference? Instead of being to think our own thoughts with a barrier between our thoughts and data inputs, it'll be a two-way stream. We will know when thoughts, will we know? And here's the big question. Will we know when thoughts are not our own, but have been streamed into our minds without us even noticing? And who will be doing that streaming? That sounds crazy, right? Lily Emmons, she's just a conspiracy theorist, right? Except yesterday, Google came out with the next dystopian idea, which is called interventions, behavioral interventions. It's basically like through computer interruptions, they can train us to be Pavlov's dog to make sure that we don't speak out of turn against whatever is streamed toward us. In other words, they are going to pre-bunk any type of misinformation. You've heard me talk about this before. That was the goal of the Biden administration Truth Board, right? Remember the crazy lady singing the song, right? The whole idea of the disinformation board was to get out in front of topics so that we didn't even have a debate about certain things that the government didn't want you to debate. And basically, Google has come up with, through their Jigsaw project, info interventions, which basically means they can train us, you and me, to be disciplined when it comes to considering alternative thoughts. For instance, whether the vaccine works. Oh, Jack, that's crazy. How is that supposed to work? How is this supposed to work? Google has put up a site that states that the goal is to provide accuracy prompts that would refocus a user's attention toward whatever Google decides qualifies as accurate information. So Google's going to make the decision about what's accurate and what's not accurate. They won't collude with the government at all. And they'll decide what you can read about, think about. Here's their detailed website here. Info Interventions. Info Interventions is a set of approaches informed by behavioral science, research, and validated by digital experiments to build resilience to online harms. And if you scroll down this PDF, they basically have two strategies. One is an accuracy prompt, which asks individuals to consider the veracity of bite-sized pieces of content, priming them to remember their own commitment to sharing accurate information when it matters. So there's the gentle, like, hey, you're starting to read stuff we don't want you to read. Get back on the approved lesson, please. Or the redirect method, which is a program aimed at reaching individuals who are vulnerable to recruitment by violent extremist groups. They wouldn't use it about anything else. The pilot used ads to redirect users looking for extremist information to curated content that refutes ISIS recruiting messages. Well, that sounds like a positive thing. We don't want people being recruited by ISIS. And of course, they would never use that for any other purposes other than like violent things like that. Authorship feedback. Authorship feedback leverages Perspective API that would never be streamed into your head via an Elon Musk computer chip. No. A tool that uses artificial intelligence. To detect toxic language. To provide real-time feedback to commentators who are writing posts by highlighting when their comments might be perceived as offensive. In other words, as you're writing on your Substack or wherever, or on Twitter or wherever, they can send you a little message. Hey, you're getting off the approved line of attack. You gotta get back to the narrative. Or they can pre-bunk. Pre-bunking is a technique to preempt manipulation attempts online by forwarding individuals and equipping them to spot and refute misleading arguments. They gain resilience by being misled they gain resilience to being misled in the future. Wasn't that perfect? Well, if this is all starting to sound a little 1984-ish, it is. Check out these quotes. From Orwell's 1984, power is in tearing human minds to pieces and putting them together again in new shapes of your own choosing. Think about that. That sounds exactly like this strategy, doesn't it? And maybe someday in the future, deployed by Elon Musk's chip in your brain. I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, that's where these two schools of thought are headed, right? Next quote. Don't you see the whole aim of Newspeak is to narrow the range of thought, in other words, to pre-bunk. In the end, we shall make thought crime literally impossible because there will be no words in which to express it. If you are denied the ability to see the other thing, you will not be able to offer that as an alternative to the current narrative because you've been prevented from learning about it. If you can't you can't beat something with nothing, right? You've heard that phrase before. And if you can't see that other thing because of the Google interventions that are now streamed into your head, you will only be able to conceive of one way of thinking. That's the whole point of the 1984 book by Orwell, right? Not to win over people's hearts and minds. No. Not to win over. When you have to win somebody over, that means you have to compete. They don't want to compete. They want to stop the argument in the marketplace of ideas before the market even opens. They don't want the marketplace of ideas to be open. They want to win by not having the game be fought or not having the debate because they want to make it impossible for you to have the intellectual capacity or the technological capacity to participate in the debate. That's true power. When you control what can be conceived of. Now, I understand this sounds a little bit, off the beaten path or a little bit of a stretch. And it certainly wouldn't be happening tomorrow. But it definitely seems like those two schools of thought, Elon Musk's computer chip in your head Google's ability to detect what you're actually typing into your computer screen. In other words, ability to think and what you're thinking, and then to steer you back onto the approved narrative before you actually hit enter. Boy, is that scary. I'm John F. Gately. You can call me Jack. I'm broadcasting to you from beautiful Plymouth, America's hometown in Massachusetts. Behind ideological lines, have a great day. Bye bye.